This is KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications. This is KHQA. It's your news now.
And this is Saturday, March 29th, and you have entered Overtime, where it's a different breed of March Madness that fuels our efforts this time of the year. The kind that makes it seem perfectly logical to spend an entire day in sub-40-degree weather, trying to keep a camera still on your shoulder while shivering violently. To bring the Tri-States all the day's best in spring sports, if you want to call it that, weather-wise today. Well, you can question a lot of things about the KHQA sports team, but I certainly think today proves our devotion. Takes it right off the table there because it wasn't fun out there, particularly early this morning. But we do have plenty of great highlights coming your way from diamonds of all ilk tonight, plus a local product punches his ticket to basketball immortality and a national title today. But we begin with a soccer pitch and a head-to-head showdown of defending state champions in the Missouri corner. Jeff City Helias, the one team that beat Q&D last season. First game of the season, mind you, in a crazy game where there were goals scored aplenty. That would be Jefferson City taking on your defending Land of Lincoln champions, the Quincy Notre Dame Lady Raiders in Jeff City. Advantage Jays in this one? No, apparently we'll get to that in just a second. Apparently we've got some softball that is running a little bit out of order for us, so we'll pick it up right here. Q&D going to work in this game today as the Lady Raiders doing some things in this one, trying to make some things happen. As we pick up the highlights in this one early on, lots of goodies in this one. We'll come back to these highlights in just a second if we could. Let's go to the Moberly highlights if we can. Here we go, some soccer for you right off the bat and some good stuff to happen. Actually, this would be Quincy High in action today, taking on a very good Moberly squad in this one. Let's start you off with Shea Mulheron creating in the first half, and this one-timer finds Madison Bruce, who's going to punch it home for the score, 1-0 at that point in favor of Quincy High School. They would go on to score two more goals, MJ Garkey in the second half, as well as Kaylee Kuhlman, and Quincy High School wins their early game today by the final count of 3-0. Things would not go well in the second game against Ladue, unfortunately for the Lady Blue Devils. As you take a look at that score, it would be Quincy High falling today. 2-0 would be your final in that game. So for the first time since 2009, as we go to the scoreboard, Quincy High loses in the kickoff tournament 2-0. We'll get to those Q&D Helias soccer highlights in just a bit. More for you today. Let's talk a little tennis. Quincy High boys showing out pretty well today as they go to the Rocky Invite. Out of 8 teams, finished second on the day, beating Harlem and East Moline. Andrew Fauble was the star of the day for the Blue Devils, going 3-0 in all of his matches. The Blue Devils do lose their final match 4-1, but again, Fauble was your winner in that one as well. Let's move on. Take a look at some fun today from the Quincy High Invitational Softball Tournament. Griggsville and Quincy High in the 8 a.m. game. And how about the wicked change-up right here from Gabby LeBray? She did good stuff early on, but here come the Tornadoes putting things together. Peyton Bond starts things off with a double down the line right here. The Tornadoes would plate 2 in the top of the first on a pass ball and an air, and then this Hannah DeWitt pop-up, which gave them the 2-0 lead. The Griggsville Perry defense stingy in the early going on today. Hannah DeWitt going to help her own cause right here with a great play off the mound, showing some range right there, getting the play, and then later it's a 6-4-3 double play, getting Griggsville Perry out of any kind of jam offensively at that point. Top of the 5th, more to come in this one. It's the pinch hitter, Callie Guai, stepping to the plate right here, and she is going to rip a ferocious triple into the gap. That would set things up. How about Peyton Bonds with 2 strikes? Facing her right here, this is a really nice piece of hitting. She is just going to miss out on a home run, barely right here, but it's still enough to plate the runs as she ends up with a big-time splash right there to score Guai, and just like that, Griggsville Perry had extended its lead on the double. They're not done yet, are the Lady Tornadoes. How about Hannah DeWitt yet again, going to rip a double to extend the lead out to 4-0. The Tornadoes would beat Quincy High in the 8 a.m. game 6-0. How about some more for you? West Hancock and Pleasant Plains going at it in the morning session as well. And it would be this young lady, Haley Hamill, starting things off with a single, and all of a sudden the offense would get going. Didn't take long for the Lady Titans to wake up in this game. Alexis DeWald, pretty sacrifice fly right here, or sacrifice I should say, to set things up for Shelby Kaler. She punches the single right here, and the offense was coming to life big time in this one for West Hancock. Lexi Dooley going to do some work in this ball game as well. RBI single to extend the lead out to 8-4 at that point. West Hancock still not done. Miss Schaefer going to step to the plate, squeeze another run home to make it 9-4 as Miss Kaler shows off her speed from third base. Ultimately, West Hancock beats Plains by the final count of 10-4, which meant undefeated West Hancock taking on Griggsville Perry in a wild game late in this game. Griggsville Perry jumped out to a 3-0 start and then tried to let the defense take over. Rachel Smith showing off that range out in the outfield. Great take from her, and then Hannah DeWitt striking out Shelby Kaler. That's a brave pitch and a wonderful pitch. Doesn't happen very often, but keep that in mind because that highlight will loom large just a bit later. More DeWitt right here, cruising and cruising nicely. Bottom of the second, though, here come the Titans again, and this time it's the bottom of the lineup, just putting runs together, keeping things alive with 2 out to get right back to the top of the lineup. This lineup doesn't have any holes in it whatsoever, and eventually we get to the top of the lineup. Haley Hamill again, nice piece of hitting for her to get her team on the board yet again, tie this thing up at 3 apiece. That would kind of advance things along to get Shelby Kaler to the plate eventually. Yeah, Haley Hamill all smiles in this one. And how about Shelby Kaler? Big splash, big fly, jacked home run at that point. But we're not done. While I was tweeting out that, unfortunately, I happened to miss the very next batter, Lexi Dooley, who would fashion back-to-back jacks in this one. Kaler and Dooley going back-to-back, and all of a sudden what had been a safe and comfortable 3-0 lead in favor of Griggsville Perry was being erased, and being erased big time in this one. Keegan Shacklett doing some work as well to extend the lead out to 9-3 at one point. But back comes Griggsville Perry in this one. Kenzie Flowers returning the favor with a 3-run jack of her own accord in this one to cut the lead to 9-7 at that point. Lexi Dooley was having none of it. She just kept hitting in this ball game and kept kind of keeping the wheels in motion for her team as West Hancock stays undefeated and pounds one out today at the expense of a really explosive Griggsville Perry team in this one. West Hancock wins the final game of the day, 17-7 at least for them. Some other scores today. West Hancock earlier in the day also beat Jacksonville 6-3. Quincy High, I just looked across the street, still playing with Macomb. This thing started at 8 o'clock, probably not going to end to 11. A big, big day today as we showed you a softball over across the street. Let's do some more highlights for you now. Quincy Notre Dame taking on Alleman. Top of the 6th, Alleman up 9-7. Carly Wilson guns down the runner, trying to go to second to end the inning and to avert the threat. Ashley Wensing going to tie things up in this one after crushing this to deep center field. Beautiful shot from her. Gets the runs home. We go to the top of the 7th. More fun to come in this ball game. Alleman threatening. Mackenzie Sanch is going to hit this one to right field. Check out Ariel Gengenbacher with a beautiful over-the-shoulder catch to preserve things. Wow, sensational 7-worthy by a long shot in that one. Next at bat, Miss Wensing going to get out of the inning with this ground out to first. Good pitching, tight pitching from her. She'd keep dealing as we head into the 8th inning. This time it's Wensing again working her magic. What a tough, tough pitcher she was. Then, how about this? Jenny Pollock would seem to end the inning with a beautiful diving grab right here. Good stuff from her behind the plate. Up, waved it off. Coach Horn certainly didn't like the call whatsoever, and he probably had a very legitimate beef on this one. So Carly Wilson going to make sure to close it out on the next at bat as she catches a pop-up right here. Slams the ball in front of the umpire. A little showmanship. Good for her. Quincy Notre Dame probably on the right. How about somebody to play hero in this game offensively? Kendra Gengenbacher going to do that in the bottom of the 8th. Walk-off style. The Quincy Notre Dame Lady Raiders get it done today. They end up beating Alleman by the final count in this one of 10-9. Good day for the Raiders as they would also beat a very good Calhoun team today. 7-5 was your final in that ball game. Again, Miss Wensing with 7 Ks in that one. Also at the Q&D cluster today, Illini West a little down, a little under the weather. They weren't at full strength, and it certainly showed today as they get blown out by Alleman today. 14-5 was your final in that one, and they go scoreless against Calhoun. 10-0 was your final in that ball game. Over at the Payson cluster today, Payson Seymour beating Knoxville as Keely Gregg plays the hero in that ball game, delivering the game-winning RBI. Earlier in the day, Payson Seymour ran into an absolute buzzsaw in Alexis United, lost that game by the final count of 12-0. Let's check some baseball now for you now. Pittsfield taking on Unity. Dalton Butler on the hill, and he was flat shutting out Unity while I was there. It was cold, and he was making it even more frigid. Austin Allen do some work. RBI single to extend the Saukey lead at this point out 2-2. Dalton Butler working with the lead and working well. The lefty just absolutely had it dialed in today, throwing heat and throwing bullets. Get some help behind the plate. Corbin Cox kind of, wow, he had 2 of these today. Kid's just kind of a scrappy gamer behind the plate, and that kind of stuff will, in fact, as your teammates attest to, get you on television. Nice job, Corbin. Not too bad with the bat either. The swinging bunt extends the lead out to 5-0. Never got a final on this game, unfortunately, from Pittsfield and Unity, which was a doubleheader. I can tell you in the first game, though, it was 6-0 in favor of the Saukeys when I left. If somebody does have a final, please call into the station. We'll get that on the website or punch it out on Twitter for you somewhere so you'll know just exactly how that ended up on the day. Let's check the scoreboard today in baseball. Kind of a limited day of baseball action due to some of the weather conditions and whatnot on the day, but we can tell you this. Western today was no match for West Hancock. These games played up in Nauvoo. Trevor Knipe in the first game, the sniper, just dealing today. 12 strikeouts, 2 for 4 at the plate. Great stuff out of him. Also in the second game, Luke Beeler, well, he delivered the 1 RBI of the game, and all that really mattered in the 6th inning, the insurance run, as West Hancock sweeps a pair from Western. Isaac Hively, the hard luck loser for the Wildcats in game number 2. He had 13 strikeouts in the day. Quincy Notre Dame on the road playing a pair at Kirksville today against a couple of pretty good Missouri squads. Q&D took them both out today. Good for Chris Martin's team. 9-7 over Jeff City Helias, and 17-7 was your final over Kirksville. Also today, the Canton Tigers improved to 2-0 on the season. Logan Brown would play your hero offensively for the Tigers, who are now, as I mentioned, undefeated on the season. 2 for 5 at the plate with a home run as well. Pretty darn good day of efforts there. I want to read you a couple of scores as well that came in late. Bushnell Prairie City today ends up losing to Christian Liberty 13-0 and to Illini Central today by the final count of 8-6. And we are just getting warmed up. It was a huge day on the hill over at Culver Stockton for the softball program, which got to debut something new and neat. That story coming up next. Okay. So Will, that's Will. Hey, Will! Probably, okay. Yeah, okay, we'll just get that taken. Hey, have Will come in and see me here in a second. Somebody, I can't get, okay. Thanks.
You're watching KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications.
And welcome back to Overtime, everybody. You have to love the magic of Twitter. Thanks to my friend Blake Whitler, I can tell you those Pittsfield Unity scores right this second. First game actually turned out to be a pretty good game late in this game as Pittsfield hangs on to win 10-7 in 9 innings. As I told you, it was 6-0 when I ended up leaving. Game number 2, Unity, comes roaring back to get the split today, winning that game by the final count of 8-0. So thanks to Blake, and there you have your scores on the big Pittsfield Unity showdown. Well, it was a brand spanking new era of Culver Stockton Lady Wildcats softball today as the program christened its stellar new on-campus, those are the operative words, diamond, on this day, and did so in most dramatic and successful fashion. Taking on Mo Valley, this was a barn burner today. Game tied at 1 in the top of the 7th. Check a look at this field, though. Beautiful sight lines, beautiful new scoreboard at Himsel Field, and a beautiful pitching effort today from Hannah Washburn, the pride of Keokuk. She is going to get out of a jam in the 7th inning and keep this game all tied up at 1 apiece. Cut to the 10th inning, tiebreaker in effect, 1 out, bases loaded. Hannah gets the strikeout right there to avert any further danger, but Mo Valley would strike for a run right here, trying to make it 2 to extend that lead again. This is the top of the 10th inning, so you know Culver Stockton's going to have another chance. Great play at the plate by Anna Linderman, who blocks it and saves the day, getting that second run before it could cross. Bottom of the 10th, the Wildcats need 1 to tie, 2 to win. Holly McDowell starts out at second. Carly Thompson with a great bunt right there. She's safe at first. That loads the bases. Bases loaded for Rhea Hobson, the pride of Griggsville Perry. Great eye. She draws the bases loaded walk to tie this thing. That brings up Kim Myers, and it's Kim Possible today. Are you kidding me? A second straight bases loaded walk. What a way to win. What a way to christen as Culver Stockton gets it done today in 10. By the way, if you get a chance, go check out this field. It's right behind the Joe Charles Fieldhouse. Pretty amazing spectacle. Great place for softball. Kudos to the guys over at Culver Stockton for getting that in. Nice sign of things to come over there. Meanwhile, a second win today, making a sweep in the new facility. Maybe Culver Stockton should play all their games at Himsel Field as they win 3-2. Another dramatic finish as Jenny Ferguson in the 8th inning, I believe, had an RBI triple to get the win for her ball club on the day. Speaking of drama, Quincy University Drury, game number 2 after a disastrous start for QU, which gave up 3 runs in the top of the first, including a home run right here to chase your starter, Rachel Scrum. She only lasted a third of an inning. However, Tiffany Harbison would come in, the freshman. She would come in down 3 runs with 2 on and 1 out and kills the threat. She was absolutely ice water in the veins in this ball game. Great for her. Now pick this up. QU, again, I remind you, down 4-0 in the bottom of the 4th when Kelsey Lee, the pride of Quincy Notre Dame, starts things up on the uprise. Just missed a home run there. That double, though, puts 2 aboard. How about this? Lindsay with a 2-run single up the middle to kind of get things going, and it would just get better and better from there. Jill Solentrup going to stand up next. 2-run double to tie this ball game up at 4 apiece as Miss Solentrup at the bottom of the lineup shows middle of the lineup pop right here. She hits the fence as well. Great stuff from her. And then, how about this? It was Lindsey Green, Jill Solentrup, and then the pride of Beardstown, Mackenzie Fox stepping up and delivering the go-ahead run, part of 11 unanswered runs. Count them, 11 unanswered runs as Alana Viken hits another home run to end that spur. Quincy University from the dregs, from the bottom of the barrel, right back to the top of the day. 11-4, they win the second game of the doubleheader, which is made sweeter by the fact that they also won the first. 5-2 was your final. Alana Viken had another home run in that game as well. She's got 8 on the season to lead her team. She is a powerhouse. She's your leadoff hitter as well, so sort of a Ricky Henderson type thing going on for the shortstop there. Big news as well for nationally ranked Truman State as they continue to just mow down all competitors. Kendra Hens, the pride of Palmyra, with another complete game, another shutout today. She wasn't alone. The pride of Clopton, Kelsey Dorsey, also with a shutout today. She struck out 10 on the day, as it would be Truman State getting the sweep 8-0 and 8-0. Also on the docket today, HLG with a sweep. We'll get to them in a second. First of all, tough day for Western Illinois, losing to South Dakota State. 7-3 was your final in that ball game, and 4-3 was your final as Western gets swept. Now on to that HLG score, 12-0 over Harris Stowe. Program's starting to show a little signs of life, and also 6-2 today was your final there as well. On the baseball docket today, got some more scores to pass along for you as well. Let's start off with Drury and Quincy University, if we could. Can tell you Drury today with the sweep, 6-4 in the first game and 4-1 in the second. Truman State gets it back together today after losing the first game of a doubleheader with Missouri S&T 5-4. It is a 15-3 victory in that game. Paul Trenhale, the pride of Hannibal, leading his team to victory with 3 ribbies in game number 2 of that doubleheader. Trenhale is just absolutely killing the ball right now. I think he was again 5 for 7 today at the plate between the 2 games of the doubleheader. That kid is just amazing. Great recruiting find for the Bulldogs there. Culver Stockton today, how about a sweep of Evangel, 8-0 in the first game, I should say, behind 3 ribbies from Cody Jacobson and Brock Hartheiser leading the way in game number 2 as well. And HLG, after getting that big win over Harris Stowe yesterday, drops a pair today to Harris Stowe. HLG loses the first game 2-1. And Keaton Baker, the pride of Western High School, with another ribby. He's got 22 to lead his team this season, but a tough loss as well for the Trojans as they dropped that game by the final count, as you saw there, big time, as you saw there, 16-4. Also today, Illinois College fell by Principia. 1-0 was your final in that ball game. Illinois College bounces back behind the Central product. Austin Dormeyer, though, with 2 RBIs to get the split today against Principia. And that, my friends, is your look at the day in college baseball. And we'll have more overtime for you coming up after this. The one I need. Okay. Yeah, we can start with that. Yeah, we'll start that block with this. So our friends from Jeff City a little tardy with the highlights, but we knew we could rely on them. Here it is, Helias versus Q&D, and Cassidy Foley in the first half gets things started with this magnificent goal to put her team up 1-0. Helias, though, working hard and trying to find an answer. Corner restart. Eventually, it would be the Crusaders punching it home to tie this game up 1 apiece. Cassidy Foley was simply not having any of that. How about this? She is going to work through like football-type contact today and still manage to punch home the header. Cassidy Foley, are you nuts? Are you kidding me? Ridiculous toughness out of that young lady, but Helias going to come back in this ball game, tie things up right here off the free kick. That, my friends, makes it 2-2, and we look like we're going to be tied through the end of regulation. Cassidy Foley scoffs at that notion. Check her out right here. 58 seconds left. Are you kidding me? Q&D avenges its only loss of last season. Cassidy Foley with a hat trick against maybe the best defense you'll see this season. And Mark Longo's team gets it done against a really good Helias squad in the Battle of the Champions. 3-2 was your final there. Speaking of soccer, it serves tonight as the topic, I should say, of our Con Communication nominee, our latest nominee for the month of March. And it gets no prettier than what Kaylee Kuhlman of Quincy High did last night against Bloomington. Check this out. This was the third goal of the night, so it wasn't a game winner or anything. Check out not only the beautiful deke right here as she hits the brakes and lets the defender fly right behind her. That's an upper 90 goal, kids, from the hard angle. Almost impossibly to do. Kaylee Kuhlman, the latest to join the group of nominees for the month of March. She will be the third. We'll have one more next week, and then your chance to vote online at KHQA.com for your favorite. And remember, if you do vote for your favorite, you are automatically put into the grouping to the hat for a chance to win a prize package from Con Communications. So right now, to remind you, you have what you just saw, the outstanding goal from Quincy High's Kaylee Kuhlman. You also are well represented by Alex Blickhand dunking on a 7-footer. If I had a vote, it probably would go there. But I'm not trying to influence anybody because, 5'11 kids don't dunk on 7-footers every day. And how about Lauren Whelan from Hannibal last week off the beautiful spinning throw-in on her birthday, ended up knocking home a goal that kind of gave her team some momentum early on in the soccer season. They're still cruising as well. Lots of good nominees. Hopefully we'll have one more good one for you coming up next week, and we'll continue the fun there. Hey, we've got more to talk about, plenty more, including your Seeds of Greatness when overtime returns. Time now for this week's Seeds of Greatness Salute here on Overtime, our look to the future of Tri-State sports.
Seeds of Greatness brought to you by Burris Hybrids.
A little time tonight because we didn't get to talk about it a whole lot earlier this week. The 8th graders at Payson Seymour accomplished something that had never happened before in junior high program history there. They captured a state trophy, 3rd place to be exact, on Tuesday night after destroying Lewistown Central in the 3rd place game over at Bloomington. To take inventory of what this team has done, they end their run 26-1 on the season. Their only loss coming to the eventual state champion Bloomington Holy Trinity in the state semifinals. This group of girls really good now, going to get better. Obviously, the future of volleyball over at Payson Seymour incredibly bright. So congratulations to that group of young ladies, an honor well deserved. And speaking of huge honors tonight, check out our man, John Gillum, the pride of Paris, Missouri. NCAA Division II national champion, as Will told you at the top of the show tonight. 6 points, 2 steals to finish off his career, but what a way to go out as Kim Anderson's Mules get it done today, beating West Liberty 84-77. I know the community of Paris, the community of Monroe City, and of course the entire tri-state community couldn't be prouder of John for his accomplishment. The first national champion in our area since earlier this season when we had a couple of great guys from Northwest Missouri State do so in football. I'm all out of time. Remember, Football Awards Week starts Monday right here at KHQA.